There were 100 little babies laying 3 and 4 to a cardboard box strapped in the belly of a gutted cargo jet. It was 1975. Saigon was falling to the communists, and I was accidentally caught up in the Vietnam Orphan Airlift. Now, sometimes people say, "Oh, LeAnn, you were so brave to have done that." I like to think that bravery played a part, but the truth is, friends, naivete and faith played more, because I was no hero. I was no hero. I was just this ordinary person caught up in an extraordinary circumstance. And yet that 10-day adventure taught me lessons that changed my whole life. And now it can change yours, because we know we don't have to be in Vietnam to be in a war zone, do we? We have war zones in our everyday lives, and you see them every day. And what's your war zone? And I made my way safely through customs, and then I was greeted with these words by the director who picked us up. She said, "Have you heard the news? President Gerald Ford okayed Operation Baby Lift. You won't help us take out 6 babies, you'll help us take out 300. That's what I went, oh my gosh, 300 babies? 300? That's when I knew why I had said yes. That's when I knew what was driving me to go. But by the time I got there, did I mention bombs are dropping outside the city? We can feel our building trembling. So they were gathering babies in from all of the foster homes, from all over the city, from other orphanages, and every inch of our floor was covered with a sheet or a mat. And every inch of sheet or mat was covered with a baby. We had seas and seas of babbling, burping, bawling babies. And we were as ready as we were going to be. And it's a good thing, because on the 5th and final day I was there, Ross, a young American, came bounding in the room with the news. It's it. It's our turn, our babies, airlift flight to freedom. Oh, the workers were so happy they were crying, dressing their babies in the special clothes that they'd saved for them for this, their homecoming day. But getting them all to the airport was not going to be so easy. Did you know you can fit 22 in a Volkswagen van? You simply take out the center seat, and 22 fit quite snugly. You know, it's kind of sad to think this is probably the only cover girl shot I will ever get. This was on the front of the St. Louis Journal back in 1975. However, I'm humbled to say it was this picture that appeared in the Newsweek magazine Voices of the Century issue. They called me in the year 2000 doing a 100-year oral history of our country. And they put this photograph and my narrative on the same page as Henry Kissinger. But on that day, we were at the airport where there was a C-130 cargo jet, huge empty airplane. The workers helped us load the babies on, and we had just a few toddlers who could see it in the bench seats. We had mostly babies. So we had 22 cardboard boxes end to end. Who knew you can fit 2 to 3 babies in a cardboard box? Then, believing in seatbelt safety, we took a strap from one end of the plane over the 22 boxes and secured it on the other. And we came home and lived happily ever after. And sometimes people take a look at my family then and my family today. And then when people see that my kids have kids and that my baby girl adopted 2 children from Tupelo, Mississippi. And then when you hear the rest of the story and realize that on the 25th anniversary of Operation Baby Lift, I got to go stand before 100 young men and women, many of whom I helped to bring out. On the 25th anniversary, and then another wonderful thing happened. I happened to be in the same town where President Gerald Ford lived, part-time. He heard I was coming, and they called and said that he'd like to meet me. They said he wondered if he could have his picture taken with me. I said, I don't know, I'm pretty busy. But what a privilege it was to have time with President Gerald Ford. And he sat in the audience after he introduced me and heard this story. And all of this, my friends, is the rest of the story. And all of this, sometimes people say, oh, LeAnn, you were so brave. No, friends, I wasn't brave. As I said, I was no hero. I was just this ordinary person caught up in something, and I was grappling for anything I could to help me cope, and breathing was a huge part of that. Now, it's unlikely that you will ever be asked to rescue babies in cardboard boxes in a third world country. But God knows you rescue people and families every day with what you do. Don't forget your breathing as your first mental balance tool. And there's a second mental balance tool I really believe in, and that is the power of positive thinking. Your mind is the computer, and you control the input. How are you going to incorporate positive thinking and visualization to change not just your happiness, but indeed your health? Laughter. That's our third mental balance tool, and I think too often as hospice caregivers and workers we forget to laugh, and it's okay to laugh. Never, never at anyone, but can't you agree that the situations are such that we have to laugh? And now we realize that laughter really is the best medicine. You've read about that. There are therapeutic humor. Your magazines and your research is proving that laughter really does cure. Laughter increases the production of cancer-killing cells. Laughter increases the production of our immune system cells. It increases the release of endorphins in our brain. Kids have this all figured out. They laugh 400 times a day. Do you know how many times grown-ups laugh? One study said 17, another suggested 11. Somebody told me 4. And you know people who can't meet that quota, don't you? And there's a fourth and a final. Besides the slow, deep, easy breathing, besides the positive thinking and visualization, besides the laughter, the fourth is forgiveness. Because we waste a lot of our life, and now science is proving, we even waste our health when we fail to forgive. So starting today, we forgive ourselves. And starting today, we forgive somebody else, no matter how horrific the offense. And I know that some of them are really horrific. But what took me too long to realize is if you don't forgive someone, it doesn't hurt them. It only hurts us. So why would we give someone who hurt us so deeply, why would we give them the power to continue to hurt us by giving us sleepless nights and upset stomachs and headaches? We have to forgive them whether we think they deserve it or not. We do. Forgiveness is freeing. Now, there's a third part of our lives we need to keep in balance, and that is our spiritual selves. Statistics show that about 93 to 95% of Americans believe in God. I'm going to assume then that this audience reflects that same ratio. And it's to those of you that I say, you need to be in touch with the God that you believe in every single day. You can't just wait for weekends for that either. Even if it's as little as 15 minutes for quiet prayer or meditation or reflection. But it's hard, isn't it? Keeping this physical, mental, and spiritual imbalance, I still struggle with it. I get in a writing mode and I realize, I'm not exercising enough. So I exercise a bit more, but I'm not eating quite right. That's when I need to take a step back and take a look at my life. And that's what I'm asking you to do today. To take a step back and take a look at your life. Are one of the three, the physical, mental, or spiritual, a little out of balance? And if you realize that one is a little out of balance, that's when you need to ask for what you need to put it back into balance again. That's when we should be more like a toddler. Anyone here have a toddler? Any of you ever known one? Have you noticed that when a toddler figures out what they need, they ask for it until they get it? I want some juice. I want 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 juice. Till somebody gets the kid juice, am I right? Now, as grown-ups, we tend not to do that. First of all, it takes us way too long to figure out it's juice we need. And if we do figure out what it is we need or want, we don't always ask for it. Instead, we tend to do something a little bit more like, I didn't get any juice today. I hardly ever get juice anymore. Nobody at this whole place seems to care if I get my juice or I don't. And I just need a little. We need to ask for our juice so we can put our lives back better into balance. And then when we do that, we can bring that balance to the workplace. But would you agree we don't always do that? Not only do we not bring a balance, we bring an imbalance. And then we brag about it. You know, I've worked here for 20 years and I never have taken a break. You've heard it right? Another good one is, I worked right through lunch again today. But here's our favorite. How many nurses? Nurses? Here's our favorite. I didn't even stop to go to the bathroom. And you know, when you think about this, I think a lot of this is about choice. And we have a lot more power to choose in our life than we exercise. Now, certainly, some of us are in positions in our lives that we did not choose. But we can choose how we respond to it and how we care for ourselves through it.